Hello Wales. Recently, I slammed my head against a wall. This concussion gave me a philosophy degree, and that's how I found Irae, a 2007 visual novel by Takashi Masada. It is the second entry in the Shinsa Banshou series as the sequel to Paradise Lost. First problem, which version do you even play? There are four major releases: the original 2007 version, which was unfinished, with only 2 routes and inconsistent writing. Acta est favila fixes this by actually finishing the game. Amantes Amentus adds side stories, removes the adult scenes and improves presentation, effectively becoming the definitive edition. The Switch version adds even more content on top. Sadly, it is also locked behind the barrier known as knowing Japanese. Therefore, play Amantes Amentus and consider the missing age scenes as a test of your ideological resolve. Now, mechanically, this is still a visual novel. You read, you occasionally make a choice, and then you read some more. Your interactions mostly amount to deciding who the MC emotionally wins himself over. It's also over 80 hours long, which may sound excessive. It isn't. Once it picks up, it rarely slows down. But that's the surface. Underneath it, the rules are simple. Because much like our own, the Irae's world runs on a single premise: Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. The stronger you believe, the stronger your power. It becomes a metaphysical arms race about who can gaslight reality the hardest, and the only way to win is to believe harder. So, naturally, the story follows a man whose greatest ambition is to grill. You play as Ren Fuji, an effeminate man who keeps being harassed by women. Sadly, his dreams of grilling are cut short when his masturbation arm gets possessed by the spirit of a 200-year-old unbathed French girl in the form of a guillotine. This forces him to fight the LDO, a cabal of Nazi vampires who want to use his new tulpa to achieve the transmutation of gold, a ritual to turn their leader, the Reinhard Heydrich, into a god. No, I'm not making this shit up. The Irae has 4 different routes, one for each girl. Each one teaches Ren that grilling isn't a sustainable philosophy. Instead, he must choose between a childhood promise with a body count, I can fix her, but she doubles down first, martyrdom with orchestral backing, or telling fate to fuck off loud enough that God listens. Yes, this sounds stupid, but it isn't. Each route forces Ren to pick something and believe in it completely, because in this universe, indecision is weakness, and weakness gets overwritten. And the routes don't just branch, they stack. Every ending expands the scope. What felt like background detail becomes the focus. What sounded like nonsense gains structure. Kasumi and Kei are the descent. Mari and Rhea are where gravity stops being optional. However, there's one problem. The first few hours feel like listening to a homeless man explain metaphysics. Characters speak in manifestos. Terms appear without context. Nobody elaborates. It's overwhelming. But that's intentional. Like Ren, you're forced to piece the story together from unhinged monologues. And eventually, you start thinking, maybe the crackhead has a point. It isn't confusion, it's conviction. Where other stories get nervous about their own themes and hide behind irony, the Irae doubles down. It never apologizes. It just keeps going. The dialogue is insane. The monologues never end. But somehow, it works. Because underneath the nonsense, there's consistency. The characters aren't talking to sound cool. They genuinely believe what they're saying. That conviction turns the absurd into something normal. And before long, you're not questioning it anymore. You're listening. The best example is Reinhard. Every time he shows up, the tone shifts. There's no hesitation in him, no irony, just certainty. And because he completely believes, it never feels cringe, it feels earned. The same goes for Wilhelm and Tarifa. They aren't theatrical for the sake of it, they sound convinced. In a story built on belief, that conviction is what makes them work. That's why it's good, not because it's subtle, but because it refuses to apologize for what it is. Of course, that level of commitment is why some people get filtered. The real war of the game isn't the story. It's the 5-minute opening monologue my friends are unable to get through. But if you make it through, the orchestral rock OST kicks in, and suddenly it all fits. You've been listening to it this entire time. It doesn't just sit in the background, it reinforces the monologues. It attaches itself to the characters, and once it does, you can't separate them. Please, just listen. Is consistently excellent, with one exception, the climax of Mari's Route, where the soundtrack briefly forgets what game it's in and starts playing generic J-pop. Despite everything I've said, this Irae is truly special. It's excessive, it's overwhelming, but it commits, and that's rare. Thank you for your continued support, more reviews to come.